courthouse is the continuity is built in stone. That's what our ancestors did when they built that thing. And to me, it's a promise that we have to continue on to the generations that we don't even know what they're going to be like. But what I would like to know is that instead of that Klingon death cruiser we got on the other end of town and call it the Hall of Justice, that we can remember a point to the courthouse as something which stands as continuity, that we can reach back to those people that founded our county government and say this is the continuity that moves forward. It's not just the people, it's the things that matter to us. So I would like this not to be backburnered too long, because I do think that courthouse needs to continue to be a usable, functioning building that we can point to as something that our founders, they might not be able to recognize 100 years from now whatever we're doing in Susanville and Lassen County, but if that building is still there, our founders could say, that building I remembered. That is the same as what we have now. Just a thought on the matter.
Well, along those lines, like, we haven't mentioned the heating and air conditioning in the old courthouse, and how inefficient or efficient are we there?
We're horribly inefficient.
So instead of,
but and I think that priority is probably second only to the legal priority of providing ADA access to
your health and safety comes first.
well, I get the ADA part, but I mean, to pay for the rest of what we want to do, you might want to take that bite first to make your savings up so you can continue on with your project, because, I mean, every summer you go out there and how many, Nancy told me how many window air conditioners we got hanging out of there, you know, and then how many, I mean, let's walk over there today and how many electric heaters are plugged in.
There's no worry. No, it's hotter than.
Having worked in the courthouse, I can tell you that it's 100 degrees in the summertime and it's 100 degrees in the wintertime. By nature of the heating system that we have here.
Boiler works great. It is. It's hot in there.
Yeah, it's hot in there. It is hot in there.
Does anybody from the public have any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Pete. Yeah, Richard, we'll look forward to working with you on a tour day or something. Okay. Very good. Pete, one other thing is Jeff's box up here is getting full.
Oh, and also, yeah, you got the countertop lifting up there.
I don't think Jeff's lifting up over the
No, it's a shoulder right here. Oh, yeah.
I think the comment was there's some of Chapman's fingernails in there as he was, time went by. He was
chomping at the bit to get out of here. So with that, then we'll move on to item H6. Is you again, Peter?
Yes. Is me again. Okay, so this is concerning the Susanville Veterans Memorial Building. We had a request at the task force meeting that's held on February 15th for the Every 15 Minutes program. I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with that, but it's a program the CHP, California High Patrol, puts on. And they do it in conjunction with the local community, and I think they're working with the high school directly. It's for the high school students. And I think they're reaching out like the Rotary and other folks to be involved for fundraising for it, etc. So the request we received at the task force meeting was to be able to utilize that building for one day. It's a 2-day program. This would be the first day of it. I believe they're doing it on Monday and Tuesday of the week. They're in April, somewhere in here I got the dates. And what I believe they're going to use it for is the students that are supposedly died. You know, it's a reenactment of fatalities from alcohol-related accidents. They pull them out of class. They're going to take them over to the building there and sequester them there. So the rest of the students go on with like, oh, that student's gone, you know, and how life goes on with or without them there and stuff. So they basically just request they just would like to be able to utilize it, no cost. And I estimated the cost to be a 12-hour use there, $170. The task force unanimously recommended making consideration for the board to consider with the fee be waived. It could also be included waiver of the deposit security, claim security deposit as well, on that. I didn't invite the highway patrol or anybody from high school here just to make them sit through. It's a pretty straightforward program. I can make them do their spiel as well. I'll present that to you on that. So, any questions on that one?
If you've never been involved in this program, it's one of the most impactful programs that you can provide, especially the students. I think I've done 3 or 4 in my career, and to see how involved the students get and see the impact, you just don't know how many lives have been saved as a result of that particular program. But I've seen students break down crying because they felt that it was actually happening to them at the time. So I'm fully in support of doing this. I think we should do it more often. I'd make the motion that we approve allowing them to have that building without fee.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Gallagher.
Second.
Seconded by Hempel. Is there any other discussion? I agree with you, Mr. Gallagher. My wife has been part of one of those up in Big Valley. It's a very hugely impactful program, and you can't quantify how many lives you save. You don't know that. And this isn't like it comes up every year. We only do it every.
I think the thing is every
2 to 3 years.
I think every 3
4 years.
I think it was about 3 years ago they did that.
I think it's every 4 years they do it, because they don't want the novelty to wear off.
You have to fundraise for it too, I think, which we're helping them by doing this.
It is a great program, and it's a lot of use of our public facilities for general people. Awesome. So any other discussion? Seeing none, anybody from the public? So we'll take a vote on the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Very good. With that, we will move on to item H7. You're getting ahead, baby.
Well, figured more needed a break.
We go from Bill to
Just the landlord.
Believe the grass.
Okay, so this is for Sizzle Ranch Park. We do graze up there. I'm sure everybody's aware of that. We've been doing grazing there since the late 90s. Actually, Mr. Shaw was the first one to go through that process. And so we've been grazing in the big dry meadow there, and then the 2 wetter meadows that are along Pike Creek, going up the Old Bunyan Road there. So I don't even know which years, going on 15, 16 years, 17 years. We skipped last year. We have a grazing plan there, and basically sometimes we want to rest the plot up there, mainly the dry meadow. But we also had a new trail coordinator come on board, and we have a full plate with activities there. So we just held off on grazing last year, so we're back at it this year. We put out the bid for that. We advertised that in the newspaper, and we sent out to 7 of the local ranchers as well, just to try to solicit as much as we could. We received 1 bid. It was from 5 Atlantic Cattle Company. It was $21.55 for the AUM animal unit month. A couple ranchers here. They know how that works. So what we're looking for is the highest bid, not the lowest bid in this case. In 2015, we got $17.65, and in 2014, we got $16.51. So still going up on that. I think even with 1 bidder putting in, I think they try to put in a responsible bid. The market bears, I know 5 likes to try to get that grazing lease there, because they then they bring their cattle in and they take them up farther up. So it's another year when we didn't do it, kind of wishing we had put it out, but that's just the way it's going, it's crazy plan. So basically you just have to, it's kind of special language in the code that says you have to confirm the lease. So that's what the recommendation is. And after that, we have a lease that will go to county council for review. It's kind of a specialized one. That's the same one we've been using for all these years. So.
Well, thank you, Peter. I agree, concur with you. I think this is a very competitive bid. They're not low ball on this one. It's a very competitive bid. We're going back. The only question I got is what's your anticipated season of use on the 28 days?
We we're working around, we have, as the park is, over the years, we've got more and more events coming in the spring. And we've grazed where we've had the events in there, which I think is fine. Actually, I think it's good that when people come out to use the park for the things, we see the cattle out there. It changes the whole feel of the park out there, the cattle out there. So we're trying to work around, sometimes we like to delay until the last event's done. So we're looking around 1st of June, bringing them in there. But we may have an event that they're just going to have to, know the cattle's going to be there, but they can work around the trail. We only actually closed down one trail that's really on a high-use trail in a dry meadow on that. So, yeah, looking around 1st of June, bringing them in. And we typically, it depends on the loading there. We hit the dry meadow first. Try to get that while it's the greenest, knock that down, and then we move into the other two wetter pastures and just play that by ear how much getting grazed there, available forage and everything. So we typically actually run a little bit longer than 30 days.
Very good.
Do we have any other parks that have leases on them?
No.
You know where I'm headed with that, right? That Cowboy Joe Park. Can you fix that? They've cut fences up there, there's cows in there. Some of the locals don't like it.
Last I heard, we'd addressed that issue with the neighbor.
Okay,
Well, and if it's...
I think maybe you better drive up there.
He's got we budgeted to do new fencing in there and stuff too. And fence that's there is
It's their
not,
fence?
no, the fence there is not the best fence either. So.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, I know where you're.
I know.
No,
There's more than one neighbor that's complaining about that. Not that
Is that recently? Like how recent have you?
Oh, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Because usually.
I actually talked to Richard about it a month or so.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
I got fired up in my Doyle meeting about that. By more than one neighbor. So it's one guy, there's several of them.
No, we can readdress that. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Any other comments? We'll take some action.
Make a motion to
Yep. Second?
Okay, we have a motion by Peter and a second by Hammond to confirm the 2000.
There's an invitation for comment.
Okay.
I just had a question.
Anyway, we'll finish up with the motion here. Confirm 2000 spring lease with $5 for the amount of $21.55 per 80 and authorize the city to sign. Is there any other discussion amongst the board? Seeing none, we'll go to the public.
I just had a quick question. Do these funds stay in Lassen County, or they have to does any of it have to go to Sacramento?
The answer is they stay with the county.
Thank you.
Can you state your name, ma'am, for the
Oh,
record?
I'm sorry. Eileen Richard.
Thank you.
do we put that money back into the parks, by the way? That's an interesting question. Or does it go into
I
operating?
believe we tag that as a general revenue.
It's only
But
a couple thousand.
I could be corrected on that. It's such a small amount
Yeah,
that
pretty small.
I think that's what we do, but I'm not sure.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. With that, we will move on to Item 8A, this goes to Supervisor Hinton.
Well, we're, a couple other neighboring counties are passing an anti-sanctuary resolution as a political statement as to what's going on within the state of California, and I think that me and Lassen County should jump on that bandwagon. I think that with what's happening in politics, both in the state and nationally, it would be in our best interest to be in that position.
Okay, well, we're, the way it's agendized, we're not going to take any action today. We're just going to receive reports and comments, and then
And Mr. Chairman, if you might, we've got copies of the Tehama and Siskiyou.
There's the Siskiyou resolution is not in there. It's identical to the Tehama. They just changed the name.
And if I might try to maybe put some context in this, I think what's happening here is there's been groups that have identified every county, city in California as, quote, a sanctuary county.
Department of Homeland Security.
Based on state laws of the state. I think the Tehama and Siskiyou are trying to refute that designation of sanctuary county by making these statements. It's simply a political statement. I think the reality is that we as a county uphold the laws of the state of California. That's what we're required to do, and the laws of the United States. And a reasonable person probably would not find that activity as being a sanctuary. I think that's the statement that is appropriate to make.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Just kind of been looking at this a little bit in anticipation of today. I'm the one that put the packet together. It's not complete by any measure. But it seems to be that there are many different interpretations of what sanctuary means. And, you know, we have in Lassen County made it to some lists of being a sanctuary county. And on those same lists, so is every other county in the state of California. And that's not the result of the County Board of Supervisors adopting any ordinance or legislation that further restricts any use of government resources in terms of cooperation with federal immigration authorities or the like. It's that we made it to the list because the California State Legislature passed something called the Trust Act in 2013, I believe it was. And that has an effect in terms of, you know, what actions, you know, state law enforcement officials can take. And so I think that, and I think Richard correctly describes what Tehama and Siskiyou did is, so there are other jurisdictions in California, both cities and counties, that have gone a step further, that have more than just, you know, respected the law of the state of California through implementation of the Trust Act, which we're all obligated to do. They've gone a step further, and they have adopted ordinances and or policies and or resolutions that say we don't want any of our county assets or resources or staff or time or whatever being utilized to support deportations or communication with ICE or anything of the like. We want nothing to do with this, what they perceive as an oncoming federal effort to ramp up immigration enforcement. And so there's been nothing of the kind here in Lassen that we've done. And we managed to make it to a list, even though we did essentially nothing other than abide by state law in the form of the Trust Act. And so, and again, what Siskiyou and Tehama, really starting at Tehama and piggybacked by Siskiyou, did was say, look, whatever, you know, we haven't done anything that fits within what any reasonable person could define as a sanctuary. We've done nothing in that regard other than follow the law which we intend to follow. And so, anyways, in the materials, and I'm sorry I didn't get them to you sooner. This was a somewhat late-breaking agenda item. Nevertheless, there's a couple of things in there. One, you have the resolution from Tehama County, which again is the same resolution as was adopted in Siskiyou County. Siskiyou just changed their name. There is also a document out of the President of the Senate Pro Tem, Kevin De Leon's office, highlighting SB 54, which is currently before the state legislature and perhaps does take that more forward step of restricting the use of county resources, which really sets it up for a federal-state conflict. That's going through the legislative process. It's not been signed, but it certainly has all of the, what's the right way of putting that? It's almost like they're looking to pick a fight. I'm sorry to say. And that's the piece of legislation to do it. And then there is another thing that is a article from the Center for Immigration Studies. Exceptionally fine print, sorry. But a good discussion. But the one that I really enjoyed was the one at the end, which is a little bit longer, and that's the original list of sanctuary cities. This comes out of a pack out of Ohio. And it talks about what sanctuary cities, what kind of some of the history is. And I'm sorry that I Chapmanized it, but it's important to understand the origin of it. And I think you'll find in there a good discussion of formal sanctuary policies, informal sanctuary policies. Some of the, and then there, at the end is a list of the jurisdictions that could fairly be described as sanctuaries because they've gone further than what the basic law requires.
I had this question come up to me about the sanctuary county, et cetera. This was in December of this last year. And I called Dean and asked him about it, and he gave me a very layman's term. He explained it very well of the situation that we're in. And Richard, you did a very good job too, and I think Dean, if you wouldn't mind standing up and kind of just going over why we're even having these discussions.
Okay.
Maybe you can lay it out.
So this is a real complicated issue. Obviously, I think last year we surveyed, it was somewhere between 6 and 8 immigration detainers we got at our local jail. So this isn't something that really is very impactful in our county. So in 2013, AB4, the Trust Act was passed, and that law said that state and local officials couldn't honor ICE detainers unless they were convicted of specific crimes or arrested for specific, more serious violent crimes. But subsequent to that, in 2014, one of the complications with the ICE detainer, it's simply a request signed by a federal agent for you to detain this person. The problem, we've been feuding with ICE for a long time over the fact that they don't have any kind of judicial review. So ICE, in this case out in Multnomah County in Oregon, the county sheriff held the person for 2 weeks on an ICE detainer. They sued, and it was a federal judge ruled that ICE detainers are basically unconstitutional. They're a violation of the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution because there is no judicial review. Right now, when we arrest someone, bring them into jail, there's a probable cause.
14th
Amendment.
Due process.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So there are. When we book someone into jail, we have to get judicial review within 24 hours to verify that there's probable cause to retain the person in custody. So we've been around and around with ICE over that subject for years, and all they'd have to do is add a signature block and send it off to a judge, have them sign it, and then those would be lawful, but they aren't. But what happened was And so what happened after that case was we would notify ICE, hey, we have this person in our custody, and this is their release date. So we wouldn't be holding them unlawfully. We'd release them basically to ICE's custody if they wanted to detain them further. If they didn't want to, then they would just get released. Then in last year, they passed the Truth Act, which really complicated things for us. And what it does, it requires
The state.
the state. This is all state.
Yes.
We have to advise the detainee, and we haven't had any since this was passed. We haven't had any in the last 4 months, any detention requests from ICE. But we have to advise them that ICE, if we get a notice from ICE, a detainer from ICE, we have to provide it to the detainee also. We have to provide that to them. We have to provide them with a form we have to have a variety of languages. This form and a variety of languages, we have to serve them with that and tell them that they don't have to consent to be interviewed, to an interview with ICE. Any correspondence between us and ICE has to go to the detainee, and then all correspondence with ICE is subject to the Public Record Act. So it's really complicated things. So what happened after that was we established, after the Trust Act was passed in state law and the Truth Act was passed, we have to modify our policies to comply. And actually the Trust Act, when that passed, that was a Public Record Act request, and that's when all the sheriffs from around the state, except for a couple that were responsive, and we all have consistent policies that comply with state law. And that's what they used as the basis to establish Lassen County as a sanctuary county. So the Truth Act, again, we haven't had any detainees since that was passed. But the real concern right now is this AB 54. State Sheriff's Association and most law enforcement groups are opposed to it. It's important that law enforcement be able to communicate at all levels. They have to be able to coordinate efforts. Now, we don't do, really, the sheriff's office is the only one that has anything to do with ICE in our county. Our guys aren't out there arresting on ICE detainers or anything like that. We don't become aware of those most of the time until they're incarcerated. So sheriffs, right now, really, the sheriffs are the ones that are really in this pickle, because we have to comply with state law. The hard part is they're putting us in a spot where we're going to compromise potentially some of our other responsibilities for public safety and so on. If ICE comes and does work in our community, well, let me go further, and then I'll take a step back there. So what AB 54 would do was prohibit any use of any resources, as County Council said, use any resources in support of ICE-related operations. It prohibit any kind of correspondence. It prohibit us from telling them when someone's going to be released from jail, their release date. And it would prohibit us from permitting ICE agents to access offenders in our custody to interview them. And the other thing it would do is it would not allow us to detain them in any fashion. Now, we're not doing that already, but there are sheriffs who have contract facilities where once someone's detained on an ICE detainer, or we're identified there is a ICE detainer, if they don't have local charges, we can't retain them. But if they have local charges, we tell ICE, hey, they're getting out this date. They'll pick them up, but they have to have somewhere to take them. So they have contracts, Yuba, Contra Costa, I know Orange, Alameda, those counties all have large facilities where they detain the detainees beyond, once they're collected from the local jails. So it would prohibit them now from housing those people at all. So that's a really big issue, because there wouldn't be a place to house detainees while they're going through the hearing processes. So that's a big issue. But back to the main issue is we need to be able to communicate with law enforcement of all levels, state, local, federal. That's critically important. If they're working in our area and they're ramping up, I've gotten calls recently from the ICE office, ICE agents out of Reading, they're expanding their staffing levels and everything again, ramping up. But we need to be able to work with those guys in our community. And if they're in our community working on picking people up and they run into issues, we need to be able to go and provide them support or provide for basic public safety. So one thing I would recommend that you guys look